My mom went into the real estate business when I was in 7th grade, and that was a pretty unusual time for women to work. Most women did not work outside of the home. And so she was a real role model for me, and she was a phenomenal salesperson and really sort of took the town of Barrington by storm. And people really knew who she was and started to admire her. And so she was really my role model for what I wanted when I grew up. So my mother suggested I get a real estate license. And I did that, and my intention was to work for 8 months and then go to graduate school. And in 8 months, I sort of found my calling. I sold about 20 houses, rented about 40 apartments. I was like a whirling dervish around this city. I did nothing but sell to everybody that walked up to me. I said, hey, you need a house? You need an apartment? And all of a sudden, I got into the real estate business big time. So for 5 years, I worked for other companies, and they were terrific companies, and I learned every day in my business, and I worked unbelievably hard. I had mentors who had been in the business for a longer period of time than I asked questions. I wanted to be the smartest and the best I could be in whatever I had decided I wanted to be. I always used to say, if I lost my job and I was working at a restaurant, or I was picking up garbage, or I was working for a moving company, I would be the best in that business that I could be. And that was sort of who I am. That's what I am. I needed to shine in whatever I was going to do. Does anybody have any questions of me? Yes.
This question I always have for everyone. What is something that you know now that you wish you knew when you're, say, my age?
I guess I didn't really know back then what it was like to be at the top of my field, because I was working really, really hard, sort of as a brand new kid in this business, and I think that I felt very insecure back then, and I grew to become more secure, and so I guess if I had known back then that with maturity and with time and with the hours that I would become an expert, I would have probably worried a whole lot less.
What are some of the hardest challenges you had to face as a young adult starting out in a new field, or maybe some advice about those challenges?
You know, youth is a terrible and a wonderful thing, because when you're in a business and you're young, people think to themselves, why should I listen to this pipsqueak? I mean, here I was dealing with people who were buying a home. It was the largest thing that somebody was ever going to spend their money on. And they're listening to a 22-year-old give them advice. That was a huge challenge for me. And I always looked younger than I am. I didn't have a lot of credibility as a young person with giving financial advice. So what I had to become is ever more knowledgeable. I had to read everything I could get my hands on about my business.
Do you believe that with no sacrifice, there's no victory? You believe the only way to get to the top is through sacrifice?
I do. I do. I think that you absolutely have to keep your priorities, keep your values, and work your tail off. I don't think unless you sacrifice, you get to where you want to be.
How did you first learn about Year Up, and how did you first become involved with Year Up?
Well, there's an old expression that I was taught many, many years ago that says, people give to people, not to causes, which made me realize how important relationships are. And your wonderful executive director, Meghan Hughes, and I are on the board of governors at the Rhode Island School of Design Museum. And I honestly thought that she was going to pair me up with some young woman who aspired to own a business or work in a business and wanted and she gave me Will, who was like 6'2", and a guy. So it was interesting for me because it was not the the classic mentor-mentee kind of relationship for me as a woman to be mentoring a young man. However, given that I have 2 sons that I've mentored all the way through, I figured it was not going to be hard. But I love this program. I think this program is, I honestly, from the people that I have met who have applied to this program and gone through this program, you guys are incredibly special people.